everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody is good. I have got a sleeping baby next to me here. Well, I say sleeping, I think she's now waking up. I don't know if you can see her. She's so noisy and grunty. She's due a bottle in about half an hour, so I was gonna just quickly try and get this video in. If you don't already know me or follow my channel or anything, I had my second baby 6 weeks ago and I had a home birth. So I thought it would be really useful if I filmed just like a home birth hints and tips video, just a relaxed, chatty video, just to go through like some of the things that I think would be really helpful if you're contemplating a home birth, just from like my experience. Obviously, I'm not an expert. Everyone's experience will be different. Personally, how I found my home birth, what I think helped, and you know, the things that I think are really useful to know before going into it. These kinds of things were basically what I was looking at when I was planning for my home birth. So if you haven't already, sit down, grab a cup of tea, grab a couple of biscuits, and yeah, I'll just go through what I think would be helpful. So the first thing I would say really is, if you are thinking of having a home birth or it's something that you've been contemplating, all I would say is just go for it and plan for one. Just because you plan for one doesn't mean you have to have a home birth, and that is basically how I made my decision with planning for this home birth. Planned for it in case it's what I wanted to do, and it ended up being the best experience I possibly could have asked for. So I'm so happy that I planned for it, because it just meant that in that moment I was able to go ahead with it. If you don't plan for it and you're in labour and you end up wanting to stay at home and you haven't planned for it, you can't. But if you plan for it and you want to go in at any point, you can. So I really don't think you're losing anything by planning for it. If you're contemplating a home birth, you're obviously going down that route of a more sort of less medicated birth, potentially, hopefully more of a like a natural birth. So I think if that is the idea of what you'd like in your head, then definitely go ahead and plan for it. The statistics for home births going smoothly are way higher than hospital births. I think it's just potentially because you're way more relaxed at home. Obviously it depends on you as a person. I'm so glad I planned for this birth. I'm so glad I went for it. Not losing anything by planning for a home birth. If that's something that you're thinking you might want, you can make that decision when you go into labour at any point, basically. So the next couple of points will probably be more related to like a home water birth, because that is what I would have liked. It didn't happen. If you're interested in my delivery, like labour and birth story, I'll link it in the description box. I've already filmed that on my channel, but yeah, I didn't end up getting in the water, but I obviously had planned to. So these next few kind of bits are more aimed at water births. Some of it might apply to land births as well. So if you're looking at wanting a water birth, then you can look at hiring a pool or you can look at buying a pool. I looked at both options, trying to work out what would be cheaper. You can buy lots second hand, so definitely look into that if that's something like on Facebook Marketplace, or like eBay and stuff like that. But for me, I couldn't find the package with everything included, and by the time you'd kind of bought like second-hand pieces and then you needed extra bits, it was just adding up to being just as much as just getting it from one place and hiring. So I ended up hiring a pool. Again, I'll link the website below because I can't remember what it's called, but I went for the Mia Via Serenity pool, which was supposed to be a little bit smaller. It was still huge. It was supposed to be like a slightly smaller version. The process of hiring it was so easy. Like, you just go on the website, choose which one you want, and the thing is, it came with absolutely everything included, so I didn't need to get anything else. When you then go like, or personally how it works in my area, I was then, once I decided I was going to plan for a home birth, I was transferred to the home birth midwifery team, and I had a home birth appointment where they came to the house and went through everything. And on that list, they give you like a list of everything that's needed. And all of that stuff was included in this package. So I think it was about £130 I paid for the pool, for the hire of the pool and everything. So you just pop your due date in on the website when you order it, and I believe they deliver it to you by 37 weeks. So you've got it. And that was something that was I was really happy about, because my first baby was slightly earlier, so I was worried like I didn't get to 40 weeks with my first baby, so I was thinking it would probably be the same with second baby. So it came at 37 weeks with everything included. Once you'd finished with the pool, you then could either drop it at a collection point, or you could choose like a delivery slot for someone to come and collect it, and they literally came and collected it the same day she was born, actually, because she was born at 12:44, like 1 a.m, nearly 1 a.m, and they'd collected it by 3 p.m. that day. So it was really, really easy process. So everything that came in that kit, which you will definitely need if you're planning for a home water birth, would be the pool, obviously, a pool liner. All pools need a liner in it. I think it's for sanitary reasons, and it's just like how you set it up. So you need a pool liner, a pump to pump the pool up. You then need a water pump to be able to get rid of the water at the end when you've finished. You pump ours into our downstairs toilet. You need a hose to attach to a tap downstairs to then fill the pool. You need like a adapter to go on the tap to fit the hose. It also came with a temperature thermometer for the water, because it needs to be about body temperature, and a sieve to catch any debris from the pool. I think that was everything that was included. They're kind of the main things that you will need for a water birth, if that's what you're wanting. And it also came with a bottom like sheet for the floor, so you could pop that down before you pop the pool on and blow it up. With the water birth, what I would say is, before going into it, it's a really good idea just to kind of work out logistics, basically, of where you're going to put the pool, how you're going to fill it. So for us personally, we are on a tank, our hot water, so we knew that we were going to run out of hot water, and we knew that it wasn't going to fill up the entire pool in one go, so we had planned for that. Obviously, if you've got like a constant stream of hot water, then you'll be absolutely fine, but that was not the case for us. So you just need to like work out logistically how it's going to work. So you need to make sure you've got like the hose is going to reach from the tap to the pool, like you've got access to that water. Work out what space you've got, where you want to birth your baby, where you want the pool set up, what space you want around it, all that kind of stuff. Before setting the pool up, it's a good idea to like hoover the ground and make sure there's nothing on the floor, because obviously you don't want to be damaging the pool and be like feeling anything under your feet or whatever when you're in the pool. And just because we knew our hot water wouldn't last or wouldn't fill up the entire pool, what we had planned to do was 37 weeks we put our hot water on constant. We turned the temperature up in like for the hot water slightly as well, so when it was filling the pool it was at a higher temperature, so it would be warmer quicker, if that makes sense, and then I could top it up with cold water, because obviously we had endless amounts of cold water. We had pots and pans and things at the ready, so I could boil water on the hob, so I could fill it up that way as well. We had planned to fill the pool up with hot water to start with. We have to put a little bit of cold water in first to make sure you don't ruin the pool, but then just fill it up with hot water until the hot water runs out. Cover it, so if you haven't got a cover, get a cover, even just like a plastic like tarp sheet thing, just to put over the top, just to hold the heat in, and then wait for your tank to refill. Depends on your tank size and everything, it might take an hour, a couple of hours, and then fill it again, obviously with hot water, and then you can then tweak and tickovate the temperature. So the plan was to, as soon as I had any sort of contractions and twinges, was just get that pool blown up and starting to fill, because we knew it wouldn't be instant, we knew it would take a while. So you just need to, if it's something you're thinking about doing, just work out logistically how it's going to work, like how you're going to fill it and what space you've got and how it's going to work. It didn't happen for me, not because that plan didn't work, but my labour was just far too quick for us to be able to do that. Like there was no time, absolutely no time for me to fill that pool. What I'd also say is just familiarise yourself with the instructions and how you're supposed to fill this pool up and how it works. We did go through the instructions and all that kind of stuff, but still had to like think about it and read it and kind of work your head around it. And you're trying to do it, it's quite a stressful obviously situation when you're in labour giving birth. So that was obviously Tom's job to deal with the pool whilst I was going and breathing through contractions. But even then, he still had a few things that he wasn't really sure. There was like some smaller bits that needed blowing up and it needed a different adapter and all that kind of stuff. But just make sure you familiarise yourself with the pool and the setup and how it's going to work. You have discussed that with your partner, whoever your birth partner is and whoever you're expecting and wanting to do the pool. Make sure they know how it works, where you want it and how it's going to work. Next, I would say is just make sure you have like lots of old towels and sheets. Even, you know, if you're not planning for a water birth, even just like a land birth. So what we did was we got a couple of like waterproof like tarp sheet things. I think we just got them from Screwfix, really, really cheap, to cover the sofa with, because I knew that at some point I would end up on the sofa. And then we just had loads of like blankets, old blankets and towels to put on top of that, because I knew I wasn't then going to want to lay on a sticky plastic sheet. Like, you wanted something comfy on top. I needed towels to like mop up stuff. Oh, you just did a big pop. Oh. Towels to mop up stuff, towels to lay on. What a really great thing that I did as well was, because obviously I ended up having that land birth and I've got hard floor, I had an old duvet and old pillows, so I actually had something comfy to like kneel on and lay on, because I ended up giving birth on all fours. So being just on a cold hard floor is not fun, and also you obviously need to be able to catch everything that's going on. Old like stuff like that you just need loads of. And also those like puppy pads or incontinent pads things were great. Like, they are a definite must, and I'm pretty sure like a lot of this stuff is included on the list when you go through like a home birthing appointment, or this is what all my the midwives told me to as well, but it's worth me mentioning it also in this video. Loads of people said to me, was it not messy, did it not go everywhere? But it wasn't at all. Like, the midwife that I had, should have been two, but didn't get there in time. But the midwife I had was amazing. You know, she tidied up everything. I had my mum here, Tom here, and then Tom's mum was here at one point as well. So like, I had people here like cleaning up. It wasn't that messy. The puppy pads are so easy to get rid of. Oh dear, good morning. Are you waking up to your feet? Oh, hello. Say hello to everybody. Hello. You're going to be grumps now, aren't you? Because you're a hungry girl. Is it just a pop-up? Have you done a poo as well? Oh, that's not happy face. She started smiling as well, which is the best thing ever. You going to smile? You're not very happy though, are you? Oh, you're just not ready to quite be awake yet? You're not ready to be awake yet? Oh dear. Right, I'll be back. Gonna go. She looks so big. She's huge. She's only 6 weeks old. And you are massive. She's in 0 to 3 month clothes already, and some 3 to 6 fit her. Look at you on there. Look at you on there. Another really good thing that I think helped was figuring out like who you want as like your birth partners, who's going to be here, and like the roles you want them to play. So obviously with it being at home, you can have as many people as you want at your birth, and I didn't have that option with Novely, because it was during COVID. So the only birth partner I was able to have with going into the midwife at the birth unit was Tom. Whereas obviously this time around I had the option to have more people. So I decided that I'd really like to have my mum here. We kind of had a discussion beforehand about how I kind of wanted her to be part of it and what like her role would be within the situation, if that makes sense. Because I guess like even without it being a home birth, this is probably a good conversation to have with your birth partners, like once you've decided who you want there, how you would like them to kind of be in the situation, if that makes sense. So but especially with like the home birth, in the sense of like with planning for this, setting up this pool and having a water birth, I knew that I wanted Tom to be my main source of support. I wanted him to be the one there supporting me, and it might have been that we needed an extra pair of hands to help with the setup of the pool and getting hot water and doing that side of things. So I'd had this discussion with my mum beforehand, and she was happy to help out in that sense, and she kind of knew where she stood. She was obviously there to support me, and there were times where Tom was doing things at the pool. She's my mum, like she was there supporting me, rubbing my back, looking after me, but she knew that my main source of support was gonna be Tom. I think it just helped having that conversation beforehand, because it made her feel more comfortable with being here as well, knowing how I wanted her to support me and support us, but also I wanted her to be a part of it and to be there for me. So it just worked out really well, because she was being amazing, running up and down the stairs, like filling up water from the bath, like helping with the pool. She was then there like helping tidy up things, get stuff for the midwife. She was there to support me when I needed it, you know, rubbing my back, holding my hand, all that kind of thing. She had words of encouragement for me. She also cut the cord as well, didn't she? She cut your cord, which was so lovely. Like, we hadn't discussed that beforehand, but just like in the moment and stuff, like it just ended up being what happened, which I'm sure she really loved. Really, really important if you have other children to know, like, have some sort of childcare ready and like on standby. Even if you want your child to be there with you when you give birth, I know a lot of people do. I didn't think I wanted Novalie to be here, but I was just going to see how it goes. But I had Tom's mum on standby, just because, and obviously it depends like the age of your children as well, but because she is only 2, I knew that if she was here in those early stages of labour, which I didn't have, but if I was going to have early stages of labour, or if I wanted her to be here for the whole thing, I knew she would need supervision, and I would have needed somebody else to be that, to provide that, because obviously I'm otherwise engaged. I wanted Tom to be my support, so we then needed someone to look after Novalie and or take her away. If you've got older children, or you know, slightly older children, they don't necessarily need complete supervision all the time. You just need to have someone on standby in case anything happens, or if you need to like go in the ambulance and go into hospital, then you need somebody here to look after your other child, because obviously they wouldn't be allowed to come with you or come out the hospital or anything. So you need to make sure you have that in place. So everybody was very aware of like their roles and what was going to work. My mum and family also knew they were going to have our dog Lily, a role and the part they had to play, and it just helped it go a lot smoother. The thing to think about, I think, as well when you're planning a home birth is who you're actually going to tell that this is like something that you're thinking about doing or planning, because I feel like there is such like a stigma around home births. Maybe they're a bit like hippy dippy, maybe they're like not safe, and I think people always have like their opinions on it. So I would just be really careful with who you tell, that even if you don't know if you're definitely going for a home birth, even if you're planning it, like I shared it on my YouTube channel, but when like in person, in real life, like I didn't tell that many people. If it came up in conversation and I felt like I was okay to tell them, and I kind of could judge what their reaction was going to be, then I would, but I wouldn't necessarily tell everybody. And I was very like careful with the way I went about it, and I made it very clear that it was something that I was planning for in case, and that I didn't have my heart completely set on it. And I think that's a really good thing to take from this as well, is just don't have your heart set on it either. I think no matter what birth you envision and you want, you just can't have your heart set on it, because you just don't know what's going to happen. Luckily mine went amazing, and exactly, well, not exactly how I wanted, because I wanted to be in the water, but you know, pretty much how I wanted it to go. You don't always need people's opinions. Like, if it's what you're wanting to do and you feel like that's right for you, then that's great, and that's all that matters. And you don't have to tell everybody, and you don't have to justify yourself. Obviously, if you think about a home birth and that's what you're planning, like I said before, you're obviously on like the lines of wanting to have more of like an unmedicated natural type birth. I think it's really important to make sure within any labour, even if it's not a home birth, but specifically if it is a home birth, what pain relief you would like to use and what's available to you, and basically alternative pain relief strategies rather than just medicine like epidural, gas and air, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's really important to do your research on how to cope with the pain basically, and that pain management. So for me, I would highly recommend a birthing ball. Like, they're amazing through pregnancy anyway, but great through labour, so it's a really good tool to have by your side when birthing at home. A TENS machine really worked for me both times, because I had quite a lot of back labour. It did get to a point where I had enough of the TENS machine, but in that kind of earlier bit it was really helpful, especially first time round. Kind of like, I used a comb this time for like pressure points. Not really sure it did anything, but it's just another pain management. But a thing that I think also really helped was looking into hypnobirthing and doing hypnobirthing. You don't necessarily need to do like a full course, completely up to you if you want to, but there's so much information out there online and videos and things like that of hypnobirthing techniques, up breathing, down breathing, all that kind of stuff. I tried to kind of like breathe her out more than forcefully push her, and I used the up breathing definitely to help with the pain of contractions. And obviously like the water was also another pain management strategy for me as well, even though obviously I didn't get it. Had those things all put in place. I feel like it's really important. And obviously I had gas and air as well, and I knew that I wanted to use that this time around because I really found it helpful last time, so I knew I wanted it this time, so I definitely made sure that that was something available to me within a home birth. And I guess just discuss the options of pain relief, what's available to you. I was like discussing with my midwife what happens if I like, do you ever run out of gas and air? What happens if I want pethidine? That wasn't available to me at home, so if I wanted that then I had to go in. Like, just make sure you really explore the options and make sure you have lots of tools in your toolkit to use. It is a very intense experience, so having all those like pain relief options, I say pain relief, pain management options was really helpful. Just really familiarise yourself with birth and how your body works and what's happening to your body, because I do feel like if you are experiencing like a natural birth without too much medication, you can feel what your body's doing. You probably can, I don't know, because all I've ever had is gas now. I haven't ever had pethidine or an epidural or anything like that, but from my experience and what I've had, I just felt my body take over. And because I had done research and I had kind of known what my body was doing, understood it, I could kind of feel what my body was doing as well, and I could correlate it to be like, right, this feels like this. I know I'm now at transition stage. I know I can feel like the head, I can feel ring of fire, like just all that kind of stuff. Not only could I feel what my body was doing, but I knew what it was doing because I had done the research into how bodies labour as well. So I found that really helpful. So definitely make sure you're just prepared in that sense for what pain options you have at home and have them all put into place, because you can do most of this stuff at home. This is not quite so important one, but definitely really helped, was I just made sure that I had a loaf of bread in my freezer and I had plenty of milk, basically, because I knew once I'd given birth I was going to want to have that cup of tea and toast. I made sure I had like all the snacks and everything available as well. Like, I had so many snacks for like the midwives and for me, all my favourite foods in. I just knew that straight afterwards I'd want that cup of tea, I want that slice of toast, or just get like your favourite things in, just because you've just given birth, like you deserve to have some of your favourite foods. I was really shaky, and I think it was the shock of how quick it was and the adrenaline and everything going through my body. I needed like a really sugary cup of tea and some really sugary like snacks. Make sure you've got all those things like in stock, ready to go. Last piece of advice I'd have is just make sure you have everything set and ready in case you do need to go into hospital, or in case you decide you want to go in. So obviously have like the car seat set up in your car already, like you would do if you were planning a hospital birth. Make sure you've got your hospital bag packed. Having it all in one place is really handy anyway. Like, I had my bag packed so I knew where everything was and it was all set and ready to go. But also if I needed to go in, then you're set and ready to go. I think I've kind of covered everything what I kind of view as helpful. I hope it is helpful, and that if you are contemplating a home birth, then you've found something useful within this video. Got any questions for me in regards to it as well, feel free to message me on Instagram or leave a comment on this video. I'll be happy to help if I can. Just my experience and what I found to be really useful. I feel like it's such a big thing planning for it, and I was quite stressed at some points, like planning this, thinking how on earth does it even work. I turned to the internet for a lot of advice, but also speak to your midwives. They are the experts, they know everything, they'll be really happy to help, and they really help reassure me the whole process and everything, and going about it. Definitely chat to your midwives, and they'll obviously know a lot more than what I do and will be a lot more helpful. And that is basically how I ended up going for the home birthers, because of their advice. They do it all the time, they know exactly what they're doing. And research, have a look at statistics as well, because that really helped actually put my mind at ease, especially if it's second baby. I would highly recommend putting plans in place to be able to have a home birth if it is something that you are interested in and thinking about. Just drunk her bottle, back to sleep, and I'm going to head out for a little while. I'm going to leave it there. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.